Today on the Bigfoot Researchers Journal, we're going to take a look at a hair sample that was pulled by one of our team members about a week ago. He just dropped it off 2 days ago, and I started my micro cam investigation on it. Upon looking at the sample immediately under the micro cam, I found crystal clear hairs. Crystal clear hairs are very rare to the extent that it's really only known a few species that have them. Arctic species like polar bear. Well, unless there's a polar bear running around the swamps of South Florida, I think it's safe to say it's something no one's seen. So we're going to take a look at those hairs right now under the microcam, and we're going to conduct a few experiments using different types of color backgrounds to see how those hairs interact. Will it be further confirmation that Bigfoot can appear to be green when they're in green bush? Or brown when they're in brown bush? Stick around, it's going to be good.
The vast swamps and wilderness areas of the state of Florida are home to a legend. Join Team Crypto Reality as they go after the truth.
Go!
For the first time in Bigfoot research history, you're going to see what it takes to be a real Bigfoot researcher. Real story from behind the scenes. As it turns out, finding Bigfoot was the easy part. The Bigfoot Researchers Journal. Seeing is believing.
Okay, so this is the hair, and this is actually just a cross-section. It's an image of some of the hair from the sample that Captain Bryans brought me the other day. Okay, like I said, it's safe to establish that there are no Arctic mammals running around the swamp. And in looking at this, what you can plainly see is that hair allows the background to pass through. Meaning, if the hair is on an animal, the animal can appear to take on the coloration of the bush around it. And that's just from the colors passing through the translucent hairs, right? We've been showing this, right? If you combine that with the achromatic coloration of the Sasquatch that we've documented and the descriptions of what eyewitnesses have stated about the skin colors of the individuals that they've seen, it all starts to make sense. People have come at us and said that there's no such thing as a green Bigfoot. Well, no shit. They're not green. But their physical makeup, the colors of their skin, the variations in hue of the achromatic color spectrum, the gray to black color spectrum of their skin, can pick up the diffused light, and they can appear to be green. That's what we've been showing you. People said hominoids aren't green. Yes, they're not. It's an aberration of color. And the hair can do the same thing. You're seeing it right now. That clear hair is picking up the green leafy substance that I put on that experimentation table. It appears to be green. Diffused forest canopy light can shine down on these guys. This is a Sasquatch laying on a bank with its head sticking out of the bushes, staring at us as we film. It's got green tones, just like the hair. You can see the greens through the hair. Same concept. With this kind of physical trait, it renders the Sasquatch all but invisible. You're walking through the forest on a hike, you hear a noise to your right, you look over, and you see something, but you can't quite explain it, because it seems to blend in with the forest. This could literally help explain why people say, I don't know, it was upright and it was walking on two legs. The doubts. Why was it so hard to see this thing? It was right there. It's a Sasquatch. Are there any other species that have the ability to camouflage? How about all of them? How about everything that is natural to planet Earth has its own evolved defense mechanism where coloration is concerned? Sometimes colors blend so well that you can't even see the creature and it's right in front of you. Wild animals blend into their habitat. It took me at least 2 minutes to find this owl, and he was only 25 feet above us in the forest canopy. But he blends so well with the bark of the tree, I couldn't see him. Now imagine a creature that as it moves through the forest, literally blends with whatever background it passes in front of. These are the hominoids. And they are a natural part of every healthy ecosystem in North America. Healthy ecosystem. They are the apex predator of North America and unrecognized by mainstream science. This is unacceptable. Why do I say that? Because it literally only took someone who never looked for physical evidence of the Bigfoot species in the field 2 months with the right information, armed with the right information, to actually find physical evidence that there is something out there with hair that does not match any species known to be native to the state of Florida. Okay, let's take a look at that clear, translucent hair. You can literally see the other hairs through that hair. What do you think a forest canopy and the woods, the jungles of South Florida, behind hair like this is going to do to what's standing in front of it? What are you going to see? Well, let's take a look right now. Okay, so here we have the hairs on top of an oak leaf that I pulled from my backyard. And we're going to see what it looks like when, and you can actually see now just from the actual microcam light refracting inside the lens chamber, that the hairs that are actually clear have taken on the background. All right? This is a straightforward, well-rounded LED light source. And with the hairs in front of an olive-colored oak leaf, they take on the color. But they're actually translucent. And you can see that. In fact, if you were watching this individual and you saw him and he was standing there, what you would see as the canopy shifted are variations, just like what you're seeing here. You would see what appears to be a chromish tone at times as the canopy shifted above the individual. You get these flashes where it's a glare like this. And as it darkened with the cloud cover, he would vanish into the cover. Now again, these are just a cross section of the translucent hairs from Bryans' sample. Let's move on and try these clear hairs in front of different backgrounds, and then we'll do a comparison. Okay, so now we've moved over and we've changed backgrounds to a semi-dead leaf, right? Like, so we had one that wasn't totally green and it was starting to die off, and we just looked at that. Now we're looking at one that's got a little more of a dead, it's been on the ground for a while, you know what I mean? I tried to get a good cross-section of these leaves off the ground. And let's watch what this hair does. And you can see the translucent hair running across diagonally there. And now I'm going to start to pull this light source to different angles, and we're going to see if this hair starts to blend in with the background. And it does. The hair, again, takes on the exact coloration as the background. So if he was standing in a bush with this color of leaf, and he had these hairs on him, the individual would appear to vanish and just be a part of the bush. If you caught that individual on film, it would look like what we've been showing you guys. And again, there's the actual clear nature, translucent nature of the hair, giving the individual the ability to stand where he wants and blend in perfectly. So now we've placed the samples of the translucent hairs, the cross-section of the sample that is translucent, in front of a live leaf pulled directly off of the oak tree. And we're going to adjust the light to see how this individual would fare if he was standing in front of a live tree in the forest or in South Florida here in that thick green jungle. And as we move the light source, the sample begins to take on the characteristics of what it's in front of. And if you move it, it comes to life. You can see that these samples are taped down and they're not moving. And yet, when the light source moves, this individual changes color. Look at this chrome again, right? Let's see if we can get it to broadcast chrome again. There it is. Yeah, it's fascinating. We're getting this in front of every sample. So you've actually, right now, you're literally having a sighting like I had, right? You're seeing how the wind blowing the trees above the Sasquatch, because he's inside the canopy, will actually make the Sasquatch change colors right before your eyes with this translucent hair. It will literally take on the color of the background of whatever's behind it. We're going to do one more test with a fully dead leaf and see what happens if we can get some brown tones out of these hairs. So here we are looking at the translucent hairs in front of a dead oak leaf that I pulled from my backyard. And you can literally see the edge of that leaf through the hair. Removing the light source and the hairs blend in with whatever they're in front of. The white background of my examination platform is showing clearly through the hairs. And as we move the light source around, we get varying degrees of how it actually blends in with the background that it's in front of. Again, you can plainly see that this is reacting to what it's in front of, giving you the impression that that sucker somehow can't be real, that you're staring at. And it's staring back, you know what I mean? The incredible Sasquatch. And how myths are started in the Bigfoot community about Bigfoot being invisible when it's a perfectly natural explanation. They're evolved here, man. They're evolved to the environments from being there for eons. Man, this thing blends in perfectly with the environment, just like everything else out there. You know what I mean? Perfectly evolved. Earth doesn't produce something that can last this long unless it's completely involved to the environment and symbiotic, harmonious with planet Earth. Translucent hair. Imagine that. Bigfoot's not invisible, man. It just blends in real well. All right, so let's take a look at the rest of these hairs, and I'm just going to go ahead and put on some music, and you guys can enjoy the show. This is me playing around with light sources on a hair sample with probably close to 100 hairs. Huge clump of hair. We're going to go through the whole gambit of all those hairs and experiment with light. Enjoy the show.